This podcast is sponsored by Velo Yellow, providing bike transport to events across Europe. Supported also by Fear the Turtle Triathlon Coaching, Conway Cycles and Vitalize Omagh. Contact details available in the episode description.
You are an Iron Man!
Welcome to episode 73, and today I am joined by Nicola Doran. Nicola, you're very welcome onto the podcast.
Thank you very much, Mickey. It's great to be here.
Nicola, I happened to stumble across your story, we'll call it the story, on the internet one day whilst just wasting my time, as I usually do in the evenings after work. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this is a person I need to reach out to. So I'm delighted that you've agreed to come onto the podcast, because you have been through some stuff, to say the least. This is one for the girls. This is one for everybody. We talk about overcoming adversity and overcoming life challenges. We talk about resilience. We talk about character. We talk about grit, determination, strength, etc., etc. Any God's amount of terms we can apply to you, and it'll all become clear as we chat. So I suppose, starting off, Nicola, tell us a wee bit just about the background before you got to where you are today.
I was a senior advisor for the Education Authority. I was head of percussion and world music, and my job was I was in inner city areas. Loved being a teacher. I'd been a secondary teacher since I graduated, and it's like anything. It was just, I loved my job. I loved going into the schools. I loved working with young people, and bringing in the music side of it as well. It's something that my degree was in music, so it was the perfect combination of kind of being in that nurturer and also bringing in something that I trained hard for all my life, which was to be good enough at an instrument to become head of department.
Brilliant stuff. And what sort of music are you into? I suspect Iron Maiden probably isn't on your radar.
Iron Maiden does come on my radar.
Oh, yes.
Especially with my coach.
Brilliant.
It's funny. It's like a lot of music comes in. I've such an eclectic range of genres of music I listen to. A lot of it's to do with how I'm feeling that day. I've had some music that has popped up from I don't know where on some swims. There was one swim in particular. I saw a dogfish at the start of the swim and thought, oh, it's like a shark. It's beautiful. It's a shark. And then I had the song Baby Shark going through my head for the next 4 hours. It was like, no, get this out of my brain.
That's an earworm you could be doing without, particularly on an endurance event. Bloody Baby Shark. So, look, life was running along swimmingly, if we want to use a pun applicable to your particular story. And unfortunately, things took a bit of a bad turn. Can you talk us through kind of the lead up to what would be a very life-changing situation?
Yeah, absolutely. There will be women out there that can understand as soon as I say this. I was a late mummy. I'm blessed to be a late mummy. So I had Oliver when I was 39 years old, after desperately wanting to be a mum from when I got married when I was 26, and it just didn't happen. So I wasn't a swimmer. People presume I was a swimmer prior to my accident. I wasn't. I was riding Dressage Island. I had horses at home. My son had a little miniature pony that looked like John Bon Jovi, and just lived at the bottom of Slemish and had the most beautiful view. And I had bought a house, a rundown farmhouse, completely renovated it. And I really was just so happy in our life. And I remember friends saying about holidays, and I just wanted to be the best mum. And I said, what are the best holidays that you've been on? I was looking for ideas, and she said our best holidays were away in the caravan. So I think a week later I went out and bought a caravan, and before my son started primary school, we were here, there, and everywhere off on our adventures. And I remember when he was 2.5, he was going around Marble Arch Caves and he took over. We'd been in it so many times that he wanted to do the job of the leader. And he was teaching the people who were there visiting all about stalagmites and stalactites, age 2.5. And I
Brilliant.
just, I'm doing okay here.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
sounds like you were. It sounds like you had the parenting skills on point there. Little Professor Oliver showing them all around the place. Great
Yeah.
stuff.
And then it was when we were away in the caravan in County Wicklow, we went to a play park and we went on the slide. It was metal, it was tubular. He was on my knee. It had been raining that morning, but it was dry when we were on it. We went down, and as soon as we started going down it, I knew those warning bells were just ringing. It was the speed, and there was no runoff. We went flying out the bottom, and it's where kids are kind of naturally dug out a hole in the ground. And unfortunately, my leg was long on the hole, and my left leg took the impact of what my injury was basically described as something you would see in a serious car accident. So I had a 180 open compound fracture. Now, for people who are squeamish, do not Google it and do not look at images. You don't want to see that. And yeah, that was it. That was in that split second. Our life went from being everything I wanted to be as a mum. I had a great job to it as it's life changing.
Mm-hmm. What sounds like an absolutely perfect wee day out in the park, innocently having fun with the wee man,
Yeah.
doing what all the parents do, and then just out of nowhere, unforeseen, absolute terror, I suppose, in what you had to, and what the wee man had to go through there in that particular moment must have been absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, I remember I hit the hole and he kind of was catapulted off my knee and I shot forward and thank goodness I took the impact, not him. I'm a single mum. I'm a very, very proud single mum. I'm raising Oliver on my own. And there's things that I'll never ever forgive, forget, get over. And one of the things was when they were taking me, I was very blessed, and I still don't know who these people are, but the people who found me were actually paramedics who were there on a day trip themselves with their family, and they knew exactly where to send me. They looked after me. They got me. They called the ambulance from one of the major trauma hospitals in Dublin. If I'd gone to a local hospital, it would have been amputation there and then. I was 30 minutes away from amputation. But the one memory I cannot forget is my son couldn't come in the ambulance with me.
Right.
They closed the doors, and my son, I was going in and out of consciousness for a good couple of hours. I don't even know the timeline. And I was just lucky that the people beside me on the pitch in the caravan park, I'd met the previous year. We'd stayed in contact because we were 3 hours away from home.
Mm-hmm.
And Oliver knew them. I knew that it was safe, and I had no option. And I'll never get over that image of him just so tiny. Like he hadn't even started P1 at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of our last summer of really being able to go off. We were about to, after there, we were booked to go to Cork to go whale watching because he wanted to be a marine biologist. We had this whole summer of adventures planned, and in a split second, that was me. I was in hospital I think I was in hospital for a week. They relocated my foot as soon as they got me there. I don't know how they put me to sleep. I honestly don't know how they did it, but I woke up and had been relocated, and then I had emergency surgery to pin it, plate it, bolt it, and put it back together the next morning.
The aftermath of that injury, then presumably you were out of action for a considerable length of time while your body had to heal, and the adjustments obviously would have been um, required, in terms of bed rest and pain management and all this sort of stuff. So, how long did it take for you, Nicola, to get over this? I don't mean to say get over it, but to physically heal, I guess.
Physically, I was told whatever I was going to be like after 2 years, that was it. I was non-weight bearing for a year. Then I had to learn how to walk again. I remember putting my foot down for the first time after a year, and the fear. I was a single mum. I was constantly in an air boot with my leg off the ground on 2 crutches, and being a single mum, I'd moved in with my parents for a considerable amount of months, and I just wanted. His primary school was right beside my home. It was literally a 2-minute drive,
Mm-hmm.
and we just wanted home.
Yeah.
So I did struggle to go home and to do things on my own, but my mum especially was there every day. I needed help, and that help came from my family, which the guilt that brings as well, because I was reliant on them for everything.
Yeah.
And it always feels like it's the wrong way round. I should be looking after them now.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult place to be, and a strange thing to get your head around,
Yeah.
that you're supposed to be the provider and the protector. And I suppose the big thing and the big takeaway is, through no fault of your own, Nicola, what happened was completely out of the blue, was not your fault, and there was nothing you could do about it. And I
Yeah.
suppose you're very blessed and lucky to have family that are close by and willing to help out. And it's one
So
of those
glad.
things where you kind of count your blessings in what would otherwise be a horrendous place to be with no support.
I still, even after amputation now, there are people out there that don't have the support that I have. And I
Hmm.
think, how? Because I know I'm strong. I know I'm determined, and um, but without a considerable amount of support, you'll either you'll either go up or you'll spiral. And all of the recoveries that I've had have been tough, really, really tough. And
Hmm.
it's very easy to say, I don't want to go out. It's too hard. Everything's too hard now.
Yeah, there's probably a bit of worry and anxiety associated with it too, and you haven't been on your feet for a long period of time, and you've been kind of isolated through no fault of your own, again because of the necessity of that, and in terms of your recovery. So a lot of factors, a lot of things to have to try and come to terms with too. And we Ollie, him growing up and baiting on, getting big and bad and all the rest,
Yeah.
and you want to get stuck in, you want to be out there doing your thing, doing the mom.
Being the mum and turning up for everything, taking him to everything that he wanted to do, he did. I never was a pushy parent, but if he loved singing, everyone thought he was going to be a percussionist, and he loves drama. So I was ferrying him here, then the other. He was plays golf. He was swimming for a while. I was just a typical mum, but I was living with chronic pain and ill health whilst doing it, which it's easy to say, I can't do that. But that was never an option, because he's my son. He's my world.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So the accident, Nicola, occurred in 2017. And we'll all remember 2020 for COVID and for lockdown and for things like that. And it was during COVID, or shortly after COVID, then, that you ventured out of the house and into dipping your toe, pardon the pun, into the world of swimming.
It was dipping, definitely dipping. It was when, after lockdown, my health was deteriorating terribly. And a friend of mine, she was a principal in a primary school who I'd worked very closely with. And she knew that I was in a bad place. My body was just giving up, really. And it was because we were stuck in the house through COVID and lockdowns. And she said, come and try sea swimming or dipping. And I kind of I live quite close at the bottom of Slemish to the sea, but I couldn't get in at Ballygally because of the steep slope. There's a big ramp there. And she went in Donaghadee, and I thought that's easy. It's got accessibility. And I tried it. I thought it was absolutely bonkers. To this day, I hate the cold. I don't, people think, oh, you're an isomer, you love the cold. I hate it. It hurts. But I just remember that feeling of getting out and thinking, it was that endorphin rush. My body felt easier. I felt lighter. My pain levels were down. But more importantly, I was happier. And I came home and thought, this is making me into a better mum because I'm not in as much pain. And it just made sense to me and I got addicted straight away. And it was simply dipping.
There's something very powerful about the effect of cold water.
Yeah.
It's very well documented. That endorphin rush that you talked about, kind of resetting the body's immune system, rebooting all the oxygenation in the bloodstream, all those things are all going on. And of course, the pain as well. At this time, you had healed, but presumably you were in a lot of pain then on your left leg.
Yeah, I've never, since my accident, I was still on morphine. I was still on long tech, short tech. I was on a huge kind of concoction of medication. I couldn't sleep, so they just kept increasing the meds, and it got to the stage where nothing was working apart from the sea. It was the only time I didn't feel pain was when I was swimming. That was the only time. So that's why I got so addicted as well. I felt free. I felt like I didn't have a limp. I didn't have all those other worries that come. It was just my freedom. But it's a natural anti-inflammatory. So when my ankle, I couldn't walk using my leg didn't work. I could swing it. It gave me balance. And so it dragged when I was swimming. It just always dragged. I could never kick my leg. But it just brought down that swelling and that inflammation and that awful. Do you know, like there's a lot of people who are listening to your podcast you hear about athletes who've got any injuries, that throbbing that you feel of pain. The sea just took that away straight away. And that's what I had constantly.
Did you find that whenever you were in the cold, that this is something that I had experienced as part of my journey? I would have struggled from time to time, particularly with my mental health. And there would have been times whenever I would have went into the local loch. I was in it today, actually. And by the way, it's absolutely fucking freezing. So I'm going to have to leave it for another couple of weeks before I get back into that. But anyway, whenever I went into the loch, everything in my mind switched off.
That's it.
I think it was because of the cold. I think that the cold was that severe that the body went into a fight or flight mode and the brain said, okay, we haven't got time to listen to all this yabber yabber nonsense that's going on in your head, Mickey. You need to get the fuck out of this water before you freeze to death. So there's something about overriding that fight or flight mode and persevering, because there was something magical about not having anything in my head for whatever length of time I was in the water. Does that make sense to you? Is there a parallel?
Completely makes sense. That's exactly what I feel. I have peace. It's a time, and I feel very, very connected to the sea, the buoyancy, everything. I know that the sea is one of our greatest healers as well. If you look into it, salt water has so many healing benefits. And this sounds crazy to some people, but I don't know why. But I feel her heartbeat. I feel like I'm so connected so deeply with the ocean that she's protecting me. It's a weird feeling, but I just feel like I was one. And then looking at the views and looking at everything around but as you said, that peace of mind, just switching off. You don't think about what do I have to do later. You're thinking of, this is cold.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, just that presence, that in that moment, there's no room for anything else other than it's cold and oh look, a dolphin. You know, so so that's kind of
Yeah,
how it works, isn't
it is. Oh,
So
look, a
talk,
jellyfish.
that is, yeah. So you got addicted. It's quite clear, and that's lovely how you described it. You talk about her, the ocean. That's just magic. Um, so you became addicted to the sea swims. It gave you a lease of life. It gave you a time out from the pain and from the pressure and from everything else. And it wasn't just cold enough for you, though, Nicola, was it? It
Oh
just,
no, it
I
seriously
mean,
was.
the sea is Baltic. I mean, the sea's fucking freezing in Donegal, anywhere around the north coast of Ireland, for Christ's sake. Um, but no, ice swimming. Talk, talk us through what was going on here now, because we're talking now about ice swimming. This is fascinating and absolutely mind blowing. I'm going to just hand the whole thing over to you. I'm going to sit back and try and reconnect my jaw as it drops towards the floor.
Oh, it's ice swimming. It's pretty crazy. I had no intentions of swimming in the ice. This was all because of a certain legend of our sport, and I'm extremely blessed. He's my coach, Jer Kennedy, who lives down in Dublin. He was the first man to swim the ice sevens. If you look him up, I just can't even explain the amount of things they have done, the people he's supported, coaches Ross Edgley, Dara Morgan around Ireland, and just there's a huge string of people. And I'm really lucky that I was swimming. So one minute in May, I kind of did. I think it was the year of 2022, and there was the Piggy to Pier 800-meter race, and I thought I am so going to do that. Just being competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finished it, I thought, I'm actually really high up here. I'm one of the first ones out. How did this happen? Because I just started to do front crawl, and I was starting to swim in the sea front crawl. And then a couple of months, maybe a month later or 6 weeks later, there was the Battle of Carlingford, the 7.5K swim. And I thought, I'm doing that. Not having any idea what long distance swimming was at all. I'd literally gone round Donegal a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And halfway through, I thought I was going to drown, but I made it. They was like, that's not an option. But that's when I met my coach, and he was kind of looking at me as to say, there's something in her. And so, yeah, that's how I got into ice swimming. We were weathered out a couple of times. I don't know if I put this down when I sent you a couple of things that I'd completed. But a few years ago, I was at that stage reserve. There was a race across the English Channel, 5 men versus 5 women. Race across the English Channel sounds like fun until you add in January into the mix.
Yeah.
So 1 hour rotations, I was reserved for that. Our coach put us through a harder qualifier than the actual the English Channel ECPF did. We had to do 1 hour in, it was 7.3, 1 hour in, 2 hours out, 1 hour in, 2 hours out, 1 hour in 7.3 degrees. And I could honestly say that qualifier was one of the toughest things I've ever done. Going back in at that temperature is brutal.
It absolutely is. It sounds horrendous. And you used the word fun at the beginning of this. Like,
That wasn't fun.
that bloody doesn't sound too fun to me. But anyway, go on ahead.
I couldn't speak after the second time I was in. I came out. I remember my coach says it's called the Black Rain, and I was like, "What's the Black Rain?" And you just saw these swimmers. I think there was 4 of us attempting his qualifier that day, and we just couldn't speak. And we all came round after like 15, 20 minutes. We were back in the room, but you're outside. We had to get changed like we would be on a boat, so
Mm-hmm.
it was all in confined spaces outside. And that's when Jer just said, "You're coming to the ice." And I was like, oh my goodness.
So
But
when you said you're coming to the ice, what exactly does that mean?
it
I've got
is,
this
it
picture
is.
in my head of ice swimming, but paint the picture for us. Let us kind of get some insight.
Well, I remember thinking the same thing. And when they started talking about, yeah, you need a medical, you need your ECG, you need this, you need that, and I thought, oh no, I'm a mum. I don't like this. This is ECGs. It
This
sounds,
is dangerous shit here.
this, it's an extreme sport. But I thought, oh shit. And I had a conversation, and I said, you know, he's a legend in our from around the. He is the most prestigious ice swimmer in the world. And I said, I'm a single mom. If I do this, I'm putting my absolute trust in you. Can I do this? And he went, I will never push you too far, I promise. I will always look after you. And that is the bond that we've always had, that he trusts me, but more primarily, I trust him. And I just thought, okay, if you think I can do it, I'll do it. So we were at Wildwater Armagh, and we had the qualifier for the World Championships in 2023 in France. I remember my first ice swim was in Wildwater Armagh. The temperature was 3.45, and I did a kilometer. It's the fastest kilometer I have ever done in the ice. It was 16:45, and I think I did it so fast because I wanted the hell out.
Yeah.
And I remember stopping, and it's only when you stop and you're kind of halfway out, and I was screaming in agony. And my coach just looked at me and went, never do that again.
Yeah, don't stop.
Scream. And then that was it. We just got into training, and we're acclimatizing, extending the time in the sea. We're lucky. We've got temperatures sometimes hit 5 degrees in Donegal, and ice swimming is below 5 in a swimming costume, one silicone hat, and a pair of goggles.
And is there anything else that you prepare the body with, or you're not allowed to? You might see the people perhaps that are doing the channel, the old image of the people rubbing the goose fat and things like that. Are you allowed anything like that at
No,
all?
not allowed anything.
Just one swim cap, a pair of goggles, and your speedo, and away you go.
Yep.
That
And
is savage. I'm so lame. I put two caps on to go and swim in the local lake here, and here you are swimming in 3 degrees of water, 3.45, between 3.5 and 5 degrees, with just one swim cap on. It's nuts.
well, the world's before my amputation, it was 0.5 on the first day, and I did the kilometer at 1.2. That was balmy. Absolutely stupid.
0.5 is ice. That's not even water.
It was, as we were swimming along, the water was going, it was an outdoor 50-meter pool. And as the water was going over the side, as we were swimming up and down the pool, it was refreezing. So it was just freezing straight away. So there's people going along with shovels to try and get all this ice slush. It's on the first day. Yeah, get it. Oh, put it back in.
So your first ice world championships were in France, and you forgot just to let us know how you got on.
3 golds and 3 silvers in the para category.
Unbelievable.
Thank you.
This is just because this guy spotted you and thought, this dog can go places in this mad world of ice. I didn't know ice swimming was a thing, by the way, until I seen this post on social media a couple of weeks ago. This is unreal.
I think I could get you addicted. I think you're there. I think you're going to take one of those hats off the next time you go in the lock now and go, do you know what? I can do this with one hat.
Well, I don't know about that. I posted my pathetic swim into the triathlon club WhatsApp group there earlier on this evening, just to say, by the way, guys, the lock is Baltic. So,
What temperature was it?
oh, I haven't a clue. I don't know.
It's probably around 10 degrees.
It's probably something balmy, like 10 degrees. But it's brain freeze. I call it brain freeze, where you have to go in. I have to duck and put my head in the water and acclimatise. It takes about 6 or 7 minutes before I can take off. Otherwise, I'll just get that brain freeze thing. So it was pretty cold.
It is cold, and we all get brain freeze. And it's if you just go for it and I always go in, apart from at Worlds and Europeans and races, you are literally in the water and go. But normally in the sea, like going in the sea now, I'm screaming because of the cold. But as soon as I've calmed my breathing, I go, you feel that initial brain freeze, but if you just keep going, it calms. Just push through it.
Top tip. I'll remember. It's a good one actually because one of our first triathlons is at the end of May, and the water's quite cold in the lakes
Yeah.
around there until that point anyway. So there's a top tip for doing some.
Breathing. It's all about the breathing.
Keep the breath nice and controlled and push through the brain.
Think of something else.
a nice hot bath or something, perhaps. I don't know. So in 2023, that wasn't the end of your adventures. World Championships, 3 golds, 3 silvers. Next, you went for is it the Ice Mile in Austria?
Yes. The ice mile is every ice swimmer's dream. At the championships, the longest distance is the kilometre.
Mm-hmm.
It's still I don't know how many people have done an ice. I know that you get a hashtag when you complete your ice mile. So I was the 506th person in the world to do an ice mile when I completed mine.
Wow.
So I'm hashtag 506, which I need to tattoo. I'm at that age that I should not be getting anything like that, but there's some things that just mean a lot
You
to you.
should absolutely get that tattoo. I wouldn't go for a face tattoo, but I would certainly go for something, you know. You know what? That is unbelievable. Like, I mean, us guys that do triathlon, and anybody that's ever completed the full Ironman, the
Yes.
statistic is something along the lines of 0.005% of the population has completed an Ironman. But in any one Ironman, there's maybe somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 people that actually complete every single event. And there's multiple events across all continents, all the time, all year round, year after year after year, over the last 30 years. So whenever you do the maths of the amount of people that have finished the Ironman triathlon, which is seen to be one of the biggest and most difficult things in the world to do,
Yeah.
and here we are chatting with you, and you are the
506.
506
Yeah.
ever
Yeah.
to swim a mile in the ice. That is bonkers.
It really was bonkers.
Jesus, that is unbelievable. It really is phenomenal. Whenever you put it like that, whenever you crunch down the numbers like that is stand clear.
I was there with Jack Kennedy, my coach. There was a group of us. It was organised it, and I think there was about 20 people attempted the ice mile that day. I'll never forget. It was in a lake in Austria, in Lake Wörthersee, and the course it was a long course. It was out deep into the middle of the lake, and the temperature was colder in the middle. And in an ice mile, you're only allowed 2 swimmers out at a time for safety. There's huge safety procedures for ice miles. And you've got the safety boat, but right down as you beside the shore, as you're going along in front of the shore, you've got your friends and they're cheering you on, they're keeping you going. But see, when you went round that buoy and you head towards the middle of the lake and down the middle of the lake to come back round, it was a loop. Three loops for the mile. And I remember the second time going around thinking, I'm on my own out here. I'm struggling. And hypothermia is there's things that you look out for as an ice swimmer. First of all, you'll start feeling that cold on the back of your neck. That's when you know, just be careful here. And you've always got an observer, you've got a safety boat, you've got all the safety. But as a swimmer, when your legs start to drop as well, that's when you are in serious trouble. If you're observing, I'm lucky it's never happened to me, and touch wood it won't. But I've watched people who are swimming front crawl, and all of a sudden you'll see them change strokes. They'll go into breaststroke and they'll go back into front and they'll stop. That's when the cold has really set in, and that's time to get them out.
Yeah.
Even any sign of that, get them out. You'll see this. We watch stroke rate. We do everything. And in the ice, you will slow down. Your muscles do slow down. It's all the blood comes from your goes from your extremities to your core straight away to protect your vital organs.
Mm-hmm.
And so after a few minutes in the ice, you cannot feel your hands feel. I always describe them. They feel like they're just pork sausage. Your fingers are pork sausages. You have no feeling. It's like, am I swimming? Is the water going through my hands? Because you have no feeling in your hands whatsoever.
Right.
Your arms are going around, and you're just hoping that you're getting some catch on the way through. Especially when it's seriously cold. Yeah. And I remember on that one, and thinking, okay, I've done 2 loops. I've only got 1 more to go. I'm nearly there. And doing that 3rd loop and going down that long straight in the middle, it was like I'm okay. I was doubting myself hugely. I always said that the kilometer and the mile are like 2 different sports. Kilometer is achievable for most people, for some people, but the mile is it's the biggest mental battle you'll ever go through to keep yourself in the zone, keep yourself focused, keep yourself believing that you can. And it's in those moments I see my son's face, and he's willing me on, and that's all I see. I'm just swimming, focusing on where I'm going, but every time I just see him there going, "You've got this, mommy. I'm with you. You've got this." And that's what gets me through these things.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
So
there's
yeah,
something really, really challenging. Is it like 610 meters extra than the kilometer, something like that?
yeah,
Wasn't it?
yeah. It's
10?
one, and in the ice we have to go a little bit further, just to make sure we go over the mile. You don't want to swim a mile and find out that you're 2 meters under, because it won't be ratified. So we'll always do the 1,620. We'll always add on another 10 meters just to make sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that course is measured out with GPS, satellite, all of those things. There's loads of things how they measure, and it was beautiful. And then we partied, so it was all worth it.
Brilliant stuff. That's an
There's
amazing story within itself. Just that wee section there, but you describing that is just absolutely mind blowing. And lovely, lovely image of Oliver beckoning you home. I think that's just absolutely perfect. And why wouldn't, I mean, that's the sort of thing that you conjure up in your mind to make you push through and to get to that final bit. You know,
I think
that's your bit.
my biggest fear is for Oliver to say, for Oliver to say, my mummy did that.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want him to be I don't want to be that single mum who's disabled, stay at home. I had to retire when I was 45 on permanent ill health grounds. I never wanted to be a retired single mum, ever. It wasn't. We all have our dreams and we all have our goals, and people can moan about work sometimes and moan about this. But see, a few people who have said to me, "Oh, you're so lucky you're retired." And I'm thinking, really? Am I really lucky? No, I'm not really lucky.
No. No.
They don't get it.
I know. Yeah. This wasn't supposed it wasn't supposed to be like this. Like, this wasn't the script.
I'd be happy to be sitting here moaning about going into work tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the script.
Yeah. What you said there is quite pertinent, in that you just wanted Oliver to be thinking, my mum did that. And up until now, the answer is yes, you did. You absolutely did do that. And that's phenomenal. But that isn't the end of the story, because we're still in 2023, by the way.
Oh gosh, I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
No, this is gold. I love this. But you've 3 golds, 3 silvers at the World Championships ice swimming. You've swam the ice mile in Austria, and now we're back in Irish waters. The Ards Peninsula swim. Talk me through that.
I had So a couple of years prior to my amputation, my consultant said, you need to walk on your leg or you're going to lose it. So my son had always wanted dogs. I had dogs when they died of natural causes. And when he was 2.5, my little Schnauzer, she passed away. And so when we moved to Donaghadee in COVID, after COVID, we moved to Donaghadee. That's how much the effect it had on my mental and physical health that we actually moved. I couldn't even walk across my yard at home in Slemish. None of the house suited me. I had stables. I couldn't look after horses anymore. My horse is up at the riding for the disabled. I was so blessed that they came in and took care of her. And so it was like, we need to move. And that was hard. It was moving away from my mum and dad. And when my consultant said, keep walking or you're going to lose your leg, I thought, right, it's time to get a dog. And Oliver just wanted a dog to call him Jeffrey. It was 4 years ago. None of this, whatever's happened recently hadn't happened at that stage. Yeah. And I went to see this gorgeous little dog, and there was the litter, and Jeffrey's sister, blind, could hardly see, crawled out of the cage. And every time I went to see the litter, this other one kept coming out of the cage and sitting at my feet. And it was like, oh, please don't do this. So I ended up with 2. So I've got Jeffrey and Molly Moo Moo. So every morning we'd take Oliver to school and take them to the beach. And I was determined to walk. I wanted to save my leg. And I'd walk up and down Ballyhome Beach and see everyone walking around that coastal path and thinking, what is round there? I can't do that. I can't walk there. Mm-hmm. That's the beach, flat ground was where it stopped for me. And I was talking to Jer and I said to him, I don't know what's around that corner. And that's when we came up with the project. I can't walk it, so I'll swim it. And it was to raise money for riding for the disabled, Causeway Coast and Glens, where my horse still is at. But the bigger message was for other people living with chronic ill health. My message is clear. It wasn't the swimming bit that was the hardest thing for me. The hardest thing for me every day is actually getting outside my front door. That's when you're vulnerable. Anyone living with any type of ill health are vulnerable. And people can be incredible. It was getting outside that front door was my message in the whole of that swim. Just do it. There's people that will help you. You'll feel better in the sea. It's helping me. I hope I can help you to help. So the first one was in May. I swam from Hollywood to Brompton. And then I did Brompton to Donaghadee. Started off, this is the temperature difference which is crazy. 12 degrees in Bangor with northeasterly winds that cause waves, but people had caught on. I'd kind of done the first swim and you heard all these whispers. Well, if she's doing that, I'm doing this. My coach was like, go, get the chain. You need to get the link. Went around the corner, hit Groomsport, and the temperature dropped 10 degrees. Swam straight up the middle of the Copeland Sound. Bonkers. Eddies, whirlpools, everything. And 10 degrees, awful. But finished it. And then we did and this is all with Safer Waters, a charity, which I'm still a part of. They're incredible, based in Bangor. Then we did Bangor to Ballywalter. It started off at 10 degrees again in Donaghadee. That's when I saw the dogfish. Baby shark, 4 hours later. Landed in Ballywalter and it was 14 degrees, surrounded by seals. The things I saw on around the Ards Peninsula, oh my goodness, I still have PTSD. And then we did Ballywalter to Portavogie. I swam into Portavogie Harbour. I would never recommend anyone doing that. Because the seals in there are like super seals. They are huge.
Big grey seals.
Oh my God, they are massive.
Yeah, they're brutes.
I remember the day before the swim, I always drive the swim and just think, okay, I thought I'd see this beautiful coastline, For most of the swim, I didn't know there was a reef that sits about half a mile, a kilometre out along that peninsula. So at the start of every swim, I had to swim a kilometre out before I went south.
Right.
Because
Okay.
the safety boat couldn't get in low tide within the reef. So I saw after Donaghadee, I didn't see any of the coastline.
So what was the distance in that whole swim then? It was,
In
you
a
remember?
straight line, it was 65 kilometres, but at no stage was there a straight line.
Unbelievable.
That it was Portavogie to the end of the peninsula.
That's bonkers. Yet again, here we are saying bonkers because it's bonkers.
The only positives that I can say for any sea swimmers out there, that reef holds back most of the jellyfish, because the amount of jellyfish I saw on the other side of that reef was absolutely bonkers. So we had a system where if it was a lion's mane, I'd call out 1, a blue jellyfish 2, and it got to the stage if it was moon, we just didn't bother but I was constantly going 1 on my breath, 1. There was there was thousands and huge. Do you know the way in like August you see them landing on the beaches?
Yeah.
Well, they was keeping all of those bad boys out.
Right. Okay. So it was the odd one that washes up on the beach is getting thrown up because they've gone a bit too close to the top. The swell has lifted them over the reef, and lo and behold, whereas you're out there, so it's like the shark nets in Australia, isn't it? Like it's just fucking thousands of jellies on the other side of this natural obstacle barrier, I suppose.
And lion's mane should be banned. They should. What is the point of them? It really is. They're so bad. They're
Yeah.
so painful.
I can't even begin to imagine. And presumably you've encountered wildlife. Then you mentioned there dogfish, you've mentioned jellyfish, and the seals. You do a lot of things whenever you spend a lot of time in the sea, don't you?
The most interesting thing, and thank goodness I didn't see them, but I could hear it, was on my Fastnet swim from Baltimore Harbour to Fastnet Lighthouse, and I can just describe it as chaos through my earplugs. So I've just got the silicone earplugs in, and there was loads of bubbles, and there was just chaos, and I was petrified. In marathon swimming, if you touch the boat, you're disqualified. And when you're petrified, I just had these visions of something massive coming from underneath me. And I admire these people who go, oh, wow, I was swimming with dolphins. I would absolutely shit myself if something large came from below me. And I knew there was something large there. You just knew. And they said it was a humpback and a pod of dolphins passed just beside me. And underneath, I didn't see them. And then my coach said, oh, yeah, and the sunfish. Forgot about that. And I was like, what's a sunfish? People, please Google what a sunfish is because it sounds pretty. They are ugly. They are huge.
They're massive
They're
brutes.
massive. And they seriously shouldn't be called sunfish. It's the brute fish. They're brutal. They're ugly. They're weird. And he
They're
said,
Fun fact: the boniest fish in the ocean is the sunfish.
boniest and ugliest.
I remember fishing with my dad and a few other men off the coast of Sligo, and I
Yeah.
spotted in, and we went over to investigate, and it was a sunfish, big, massive brute of a thing, ugly bugger, as you rightly have already pointed out. But
Imagine swimming and turning around, and out the corner of your eye, you see that thing.
that no, I was happy enough looking at it from above, in the boat with my waders on and my ham sandwich.
But they're rare, aren't they?
Oh, they're wild looking. They're brilliant. But anyway, we're away off on a wee tangent.
Sorry.
You mentioned the lighthouse swim. Fastnet Lighthouse, isn't that it? What's the deal with it?
The Fastnet is 21 kilometers. I did that I missed out another lighthouse one there. I did Kish before I did Fastnet. It was just marine life I saw, Fastnet.
Mm-hmm.
The Fastnet is part of the Irish Triple Crown.
Okay.
I thought it was my last swim before amputation.
Mm-hmm.
It's iconic out into the Atlantic Ocean. It's renowned for the change of weather, tides. I found the temperature quite good because I'm training in Donaghadee. It's beautiful. It's just this stunning lighthouse just appears from the middle of the ocean. It's unbelievable. This,
21 kilometers out.
yeah. Well, sideways, you go past a couple of islands. It's 21 kilometers from Baltimore.
That's bonkers. That's a half marathon. They swam a half marathon. Where is the lighthouse? Where is it?
In Cork.
In Cork.
Yeah. So a marathon swim is 10 kilometers. So your running marathon, our swimming marathon is 10 kilometers. It's the equivalent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, in the ice, someone once told me that swimming an ice kilometer is the same as running a marathon, and swimming an ice mile is the same as running an ultra marathon. That's how much it takes out of your body.
Absolutely. That when you think about the physiology and the changes and the extremes that your body goes through
Yeah.
in environment, like, and that's why there's only a handful. We're going to call them a handful of people that have ever done it. It's just insane. It really is. So, okay, so you did the Kish. Kish was in 2023, and that was a race, was it?
Yeah, that was an organized race. So I couldn't get that ratified because you can't get a ratified swim as with a race start. It was relays, there was wetsuits, skin swimmers, there was a lot of people, triathletes, who were doing it as a relay and things like that. We all had our own safety boat. There'd been a small craft warning the day before. We went out. There was one guy actually didn't finish the swim because he got so seasick on the way out. So it's in Dublin. It's 12.5 kilometers off the coast, and the swim was from Kish Lighthouse to 40 foot. So it was so rough. And coming in, you're heading towards Dorky Island. You're heading straight from the lighthouse. You want to get to with the tide. You want straight across, and then get the shelter from the land as well. And so all of us were swimming as a huge group, heading straight to Dorky Island in the open sea. And none of us were really we were making headway, but it was so rough out there. And we just hit towards, we were close to land, it flattened out. And I said to a gentleman, John Thorne, amazing guy, and I said, am I doing okay? Because I didn't know where anyone else was. And he said, yeah, but you just look a bit weak. You're okay, but you look weak. And soon as he said the word weak, something in my brain just absolutely flipped and thought, weak?
How very dare you, sir? Fucking weak. Weak, you say?
Did you just call me weak?
12 kilometers off the coast, trying to swim back, and you're calling me weak? Well, just hold on a wee second.
Oh, I am going to show you I am absolutely not weak. So I took off.
Brilliant.
And I remember just keeping the pilot, he was kind of drifting a little bit, but every time he drifted, he was putting extra meters on. And every time I saw him look at his phone or looking at whatever, I was just shouting on my breath, going, "Oi!" So he was back on me. It was so funny. I took off like a rocket, and I thought, I'm a lot of things, but I am not weak.
Damn right. Jesus. He picked the wrong doll to mess with that day.
No, it was the best thing he could ever say to me. I came in first place overall.
Matey. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant stuff. Just whenever you're talking about all these swims in the ocean and stuff, the ocean's so unpredictable. You know, go out and it looks reasonable. You could be in it and it might feel okay. And then all of a sudden it just starts bouncing and lumping and getting a bit gnarly and nasty and wind coming in and rain and all sorts. It's just unpredictable and adventurous. Is there an adrenaline side to this? Is there a I could die doing this? That's what floats my boat. If you pardon the Christ, the puns are just dripping out of me today.
I hope not. I think it probably on the long distance swims, it keeps you in the game. It keeps you focused. Also, if you're going over a deep area, the water gets colder. You know you're going over, and you're thinking, "Oh, Jesus, what's below there? Like, how deep is it?" Did this channel in 7.3? We were out in the middle of the channel at night, and that was shit. That was a time when I thought, this is hardcore. So it's something. It's probably it keeps your brain, because when you're swimming for hours on end, you've got to be aware of jellyfish. You've got to be aware. You're watching the boat every 5 minutes for your feeds coming. We feed anything between 30 minutes and 45 minutes. And after about 20 minutes, you're just watching your crew thinking, please get that feed bottle out, because you're drained. You are literally swimming from feed to feed. And then if you have too many carb electrolyte mix, you can start being sick. You can start getting salt tongue. And I'm thinking, why the hell am I doing this sport?
I'll tell you why, because you're absolutely friggin' brilliant at it. Let's move into 2024, because 2024 saw you do, was it your second ice mile in Morocco? Is that right?
Yes. That
Was
was
that
cool.
the same type of thing? Or I imagine Morocco being quite warm.
Everybody imagines Morocco warm, but you
What?
head up into the Middle Atlas and you go high altitude.
Uh-huh.
We had snow.
So you're swimming an ice mile up in a mountain somewhere in a lake, is that right?
Yeah, high up in the Middle Atlas. It was phenomenal. Jaya had done an ice mile there, probably about 10 years ago, where it was just a lake. They got snowed in. It was a little hut that they had to put a fire in for him to reheat. And he had made friends with a local guide to try and get they were trying to find the temperature, because you just got to keep going higher to get it below 5 degrees. So you've got to go high altitude. And he rang the guide and said, we're going to come to Morocco for an ice mile. What about that place we're at? And he said, well, we reheated in the hut. And they said, oh, well, that hut now is a luxury 5-star resort. Yeah, so Morocco, it's like everyone looks at a swim and looks at achievement, but the story behind each swim for me is what makes it just that's the reason why I'm doing this. And I remember being up there and we saw the lake. There was a walkway, a wooden plank. It was a wooden walkway down to the lake, and there was no one else there. They opened up the hotel for us. They couldn't believe that people were going to come and swim in the winter and all of these things. But the biggest thing that was really shocking was how much the circumference of the lake had decreased, the harsh reality of global warming.
Right. Okay.
I just thought we were searching for cold water, where they're searching for water. And we were brought in by the Berber tribe. We were looked after. We went sightseeing, and I knew we were going for the Ice Triple Crown. The Ice Triple Crown is an ice mile in the Northern Hemisphere, ice mile in the Southern, and an ice kilometre at a national European World Championships. And I knew that I was going to be the first power in the world if I completed this ice mile. To achieve it, I was the 16th person in the world to get the Ice Triple Crown. But in that as well brings pressure. Where you've got people who trust you and they're putting everything in to help you succeed. And I remember thinking, we're searching for cold water. Is that what it is? When people are struggling for drinking water, what are we doing here?
I felt a bit disconnected or something.
Felt disconnected, but then the celebrations with the local community felt extremely connected. And it was a very, very magical trip where I thought I just have to learn. There's always something to learn from everything. And Yeah, from that one, it was global warming is the effects it's having around the world. We don't see a lot here. We see it in the loch.
Mhm.
Uh, but there it was quite shocking to think that you just when I was swimming, there was a lady coming with donkeys with these big water tubs hanging over the backs of these donkeys. There was maybe 6 tubs on each donkey, and she was there because the only place that they could get water was the well at the lake, and
Mhm.
she'd walk for miles for water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was then I just thought, wow, this was a very magical trip, but it was double-edged sword, really.
It's given you that opportunity and that insight to be able to see and experience all types of situations around all types of bodies of water, I suppose. And there's something quite special about that too, just in
Yeah,
terms of just reflecting on it, and the privilege, perhaps, dare I say it, where you do
absolute privilege.
that opportunity to see all those magical places.
And a lot of the places we go to are off the beaten track. So
Mm-hmm.
it is an absolute privilege, and we learn, we're respectful, we come back better in ourselves, not because of a swim, because of the people who've supported us, looked after us, the people we've met, what we've learnt, the respect for different cultures. That's something that I feel that's why I swim.
Brilliant stuff. 2024 also seen you participating in the European Ice Championships.
Yep, that was
Another
in
successful haul of medals, might I add.
yeah, I think I was it
4 golds,
4 goals,
silver.
three silver and 2 bronze. No, 4 goals. I don't know because I got a load of age group ones as well, which I didn't put. This is not me being big headed. I swear, 4 goals, 2 silvers, and a bronze.
Brilliant. Absolutely amazing.
Uh, but
Um,
it was a friend who ran the event, Paul Jajescu, an absolutely amazing swimmer. I was on his North Channel swim. That was before I started all this crazy shit. I was crew for him, and I was eyes on him from the moment he started that swim across that North Channel until when he finished. And I never took I was bent over in absolute agony, eyes on him, just to know that it's, as a swimmer, you cannot buy that. If someone is watching you at all times, that's what you need. You need someone to be there because it just makes the swimmer feel safe. They know that someone's looking out for them. And so, yeah, that was Paul's event in Romania. The World Championships in 2027 are back in Romania, and we can't wait to go back.
Brilliant stuff. That's where I was going to get to that bit. What's next on the agenda? But let's get through 2024 and 2025 because 25 we skipped to 25 was the Ice Worlds in Italy.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? And again, podiums, 3 golds, 2 silver. Um,
Record in the kilometre.
and you got the record as well.
Yeah. In 1.2. But this is a whole different story.
Go for it.
My amputation had been confirmed so my Fastnet was in 2024. I thought that was my last swim. My consultant was just looking, I was coming back from that swim for a bone scan. And it's like when people look at Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and they see pictures and they see you achieving a swim and they think, wow, you're brilliant and you get amazing support. But what people didn't see was that was when I was starting. I knew what was coming. So behind the scenes, I was just bursting into tears uncontrollably. I was so scared. I gave the 3 swims prior to my surgery my absolute everything, because each one I thought was my last swim before amputation because I'd already been told.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought my surgery was going ahead in January 2025. My consultant had confirmed it in November 24, said there was no other options. And then it was put back. And I said to him, can I go to the World Championships? I had no training. I was just preparing for amputation. How do you prepare for amputation? I was in such a frenzied mind state when my son was at school. But then I was like that swan when he was at home.
Yeah.
And when it was put back, he said, yeah, go for it. So I literally had a few weeks to train for the Worlds. And I learned my biggest lesson there. We knew that we were going to go for the record. My coach, Jer, was there and said, we're going to go for this on the kilometre. 1.2 degrees. This is the toughest temperature. We're going to go for the record. And I said, right, I'll give it my all. And I remember coming in for the kilometre, and they have a marker, a countdown to show you how many lengths you've got left to go. So it's a 50-metre pull, it's 20 lengths, and I just looked at the marker at the wrong time. I usually look at the marker on the turn, but every turn I was looking at my coach to see if I was okay, just to keep an eye on him. And I remember pushing off, and the person who changes the marker over had obviously changed it for the next time I was coming up to the end. I didn't know that. And all I saw was 2. So I thought, I've only got 2 lengths to go. I have to give it my everything. This is it. I'm just going to give my absolute all for these last 2 lengths. Hit the wall at the 2 lengths and stopped. And my coach just shouted in my face, 2 more to go, 100 meters to go. And I thought, I can't. I've just given, I took off, but I thought, how can I even finish this? I've just given my absolute everything for this record. And I thought, I'm not going to be, I've blown it. And then there's Oliver again in my face. I've got a few of the people are now on the last length. They're starting to run beside me along the pull side. And the biggest thing I learnt was whatever you think your limit is and you've given it your all, you haven't reached it. Because my stats didn't change on the last 2 lengths than they did from the previous 2. I maintained the exact same speed.
Wow.
Which was huge. I thought that was massive. So whatever you think you've got and you've given, no, you need to push a little bit harder.
The mindset.
Yeah.
And you got the record?
Yeah.
What a story. That is unbelievable. Christ almighty, that is fantastic. And to think that it was kind of just, it nearly landed in your lap. You know, you weren't dialed in for this one because the surgery had been put back, and then you just thought, well, if it's off, then
I'll
this
go.
is
Yeah. I wasn't there for the world record. I wasn't there I hadn't been training. I hadn't done a huge amount of acclimatization. I had, as you said, perfect way of putting it. I'd switched off. I had dialed off before it. I didn't think I was going. So it was fate. It was just one of those things that, and I think that really did keep my mental health kind of stable-ish, knowing that amputation was coming. But at each turn, something else came, and it was through sport that something else popped up to give me another focus. Maintaining focus, having goals has been an absolute lifesaver for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we came back in January, I thought my amputation was going to go ahead in February. They put it off again. And my coach said, right, we've got the world record in the kilometre. Let's go for the world record in the mile. And that was February 2025. And on home soil, which I'm seriously proud of. We got the temperatures down in Clontarf Baths. No one else down there knew that we were going for the records. It was just myself and my coach. And there was a pod of Irish swimmers, all there to do their ice mile attempts, supporting each other. The crack was mighty, looking after each other. Yeah. And went for it.
you went for it and succeeded.
Yeah.
Two world records back to back.
3.
3 back to back.
Fastnet.
Fastnet as well, yeah.
3rd, I broke the Irish record. Fastest para. Yeah.
This is insane. And to think that in your head, these weren't events that they weren't on your radar at all. You were supposed to be recovering from serious surgery.
I was about to go. The only thing that was in my head was serious surgery was about to land.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, as sports people, how much of what we do is mental strength, perseverance, belief in yourself. How much? And I'm going to say, for me, it's 90% of it, because physically I was broken. I was so sick. So
Totally.
it was all mental strength.
This is absolutely amazing. This is why I wanted to speak to you. This is exactly it. There's something that you have had to draw on, that you have had no choice other than to draw on to survive, let alone accomplish the records that you've gathered along the way, and the medals that you've gathered along the way. But just that mental resilience is something remarkable. It really is.
Thank you. Thank you.
It really is.
And it's
Post surgery, how's things, or what happened from whenever you had the operation to up to now, I suppose?
Suppose after the gold stopped with the swimming, and I knew my surgery was that was the next thing. It was, I will say that the only thing that saved me during that time was getting in and out of the sea. I hid on a beach. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I just wanted to read my friend's book, go in and out of the sea, keep my mental health stable, waiting. I didn't want to be at home when the postman was here, because I knew it was going to bring the date of my surgery. I knew it was coming. And I just needed to switch off from people. And people might have seen me and thought I was rude or whatever. I didn't want to be around people. I needed to the way some people get through things, and they need to talk about it. I'm probably the opposite. I need to process it.
Mm-hmm.
The date of the surgery came. I think the hardest thing coming up to that was my son. I've always been so honest with my son, and I think that's why we have such an amazing bond and trust, love, friendship. I'm just lucky. I'm so blessed. But the hardest thing for me at that point was processing, how do I tell my son that the surgery's come, the date of the surgery?
Mm-hmm.
And looking after his little mind and making sure he was okay. I didn't care about me. I was just so worried about how he was going to cope with this, because it's very life-changing, and it's a very visual surgery.
Yeah.
I remember the date coming in, and just sitting on that beach, I couldn't breathe. I didn't want him to know too soon. And then I thought, right, I'll tell him the surgery was on the Friday. I told him on the Wednesday evening. I kept him off school on the Thursday, Friday, and Thursday we had our time there. They're making a documentary about myself and my friends, and the filmmaker was over. And both of us, the only thing we wanted to do the night before my surgery was go in the sea, just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we went down to the sea, had the surgery the next day, drove myself to the hospital. And I remember going there, and Oliver was in the car, and my mom. And I remember thinking, just drive past the hospital. Just drive on. Just escape. So, but I knew I had no other option. And I've got to say, it was an absolute brutal recovery. I think I'm pretty tough in some things.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt.
I was in bed for 6 months. I had a huge open wound. I desperately missed the sea. I was just in bed, and it was the visuals. It's your body image. I put on I lost half a leg and put on 3 stone. My clothes didn't fit. I was in a wheelchair for 6 months, which was the worst out of all of it, living in a wheelchair. It's shit. Our country needs to change. Our country is not accessible in any form. It needs to change. They need to look after people. They talk about this, and they talk about things for like a millisecond, and then moving on to the next subject. Sort this shit out. There are too many people living, I don't know, ostracized from society.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly went through that, where people saw me as vulnerable and thought they could treat me in a certain way. I was on so much morphine. I didn't know which way was up. But with that came these amazing people that just were strangers, became like family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what outweighs all the negatives, the relationships, the friendships, the nurses at Musgrave. I was up at the wound clinic every Monday for 6 months, and from 3 months, probably 2 months post-surgery, I was asking, can I swim yet? I had a huge open wound, like 6 months. It took 6 months for it to even look like healing. And even though when I was going up to the hospital, it was the toughest time because it's cleaning out the wounds, and I don't want to get too gory, but it was horrible. But they were the only ones that really understood what I was going through. So we had so much fun up there. The giggles, the friendship. We must have sounded like I was on gas or something. They were like doing all this crazy shit to my leg, and that we were just wetting ourselves because it was like a sistership. Women coming together. My physio, my prosthesis at Musgrave, all of them in my recovery have been women. The women that were on my WhatsApp group, I had a very private WhatsApp group that we were keeping people updated. All women, strong, beautiful, amazing women that I will have their back. And that was going into the next bit, was January, was when we went to Greece. I dedicated a swim to the women that held me up. And that is all of those women.
Let's make no mistake about it. They're blessed to have you watching over their backs 100%. Because don't often say this, but I don't think I've ever met a stronger woman than you. Straight up.
You said that and I'm now crying.
Well, I just feel compelled to say that because, whenever you listen to what you've come through and how you've come over it and how you've come through it, and to have, those relationships and the camaraderie and the crack, because you get the crack and the kihos and laughs and carry on of you when you're getting your treatment post surgery and all. It's just, there's something really, really special about that, Nicola, and it's just worth acknowledging that is what it is.
An unbreakable bond when you go through your darkest moments. That's a bond that will never be broken.
What about this swim then that you dedicated to those ladies?
Oh, this was nuts. We have been invited out to Greece. We've been there the year before. Again, ice swimming in Greece. People go, what? Greece? High altitude. We were high up in Halkidiki in Mount Koloman. And we've been invited out to speak as they have this amazing weekend of ice swimming and introducing people to ice swimming. And myself and my coach, Jack Kennedy, were invited out there to talk, to participate with their seminars, and then kind of do an exhibition swim before the following day, then supporting the swimmers who are coming to try ice swimming it's like a 15-meter pool. They got the temperature of, I think it was 6.5. So it was pretty cold.
Mm-hmm.
We're there to support people and build ice swimming in Greece. So that after we arrived and George, who runs ice swimming in Greece, George and Zach and the gang, they'd And the mayor, the support they get is unreal. They'd been watching this dam high up in Mount Coleman, and they'd been watching the temperature, and it'd been snowing really hard. So the temperature was below 5, and they were hoping it was going to stay below 5 for us to do like this exhibition swim. And I'm thinking, I've got a frigging open wound. Anyway, they actually put a path in for cars to drive down. They put railings up on this dam because there was this huge drop. The temperature was 4.83, and we set the course. My coach was doing an ice mile, and Jer just said to me, "Okay, we're doing an exhibition swim." I had been in the sea once since my surgery. I had been in the pool, I think, probably about 5 times with this limbo thing on. And if you Google them, it's like a big inflatable condom that it keeps your leg airtight. But when you swim, it basically points to the ceiling because it's filled with air. So it's swimming in the pool. I wasn't swimming. I was basically drowning because my leg was up and my head was down. It was like, gee. Yeah. So he just said, just go in, just do what you can. It's there for a mile if you want to take it. And I just looked at him and went, do you think? And he said, there's no pressure, but the support's here. There's a huge, all of the mountain rescue guys there. There must have been a team of 30. They had a boat in the dam. They brought everything. And he said, if you're going to go for it, you've got the best support. Try it. So we started the ice mile, and it was 6 laps of the course. And then to finish it, you had to swim to the middle of the dam and back. That was it. And I remember turning the last corner thinking, holy shit, I'm actually, I think about lap 3, I thought, oh, Jesus, this is really hurting. But I thought, I'm halfway. I'm going to see if I can do another lap. And really, that was when the mental part really kicked in. That's when I started thinking about all the women, everyone who'd supported me, everyone who'd looked after me, everyone who'd messaged me, sent me flowers, everything. And I came down with a countdown and thought, I'm finishing this. And as I turned to go up to the middle of the lake, and we literally had to do, I think it was maybe 50 meters and back to finish. I could see my coach going up around the top buoy. And I thought, I want to join him. And I knew if I joined him, I was going to beat my own world record for the longest ice mile by a female para. And I thought, I don't give a shit. This man has stood by me for years. I'm swimming back with him. I want to swim. I want to finish this. I want to swim alongside him to show I'm still here. And thank you. It really is one of major gratitude to a lot of people. So yeah, I went round the top buoy. He nearly shit himself when he saw me. With a big smile on his face. And we were stroke on stroke coming down the long side. And that was it.
World record.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
4th Guinness World Record.
Christ. I'm nearly crying here at this stage, for God's sake. 4 Guinness World Records. Any God's amount of accolades. In 2023, you were the Ulster Swimmer of the Year, Swim Ireland Disability Swimmer of the Year, 25 Women in Sports, Disability Sportswoman of the Year, Editor's Choice Women in Sports, 26. Guinness World Record holder 4 times. My God.
But, it's the people, and it really is for anyone doing any kind of sport. Before you start, if you're thinking, I'm doing this because I want to beat so-and-so, you need to take a reality check. You need to do stuff for yourself. Be your own competition. Don't look at someone you've been training with, and you see it all the time. Oh, I've been training with her, but I'm going to beat that person in the race. Don't. Focus on yourself and enjoy it. Like, none of us are professional sports people. We're all doing this as a hobby. Do it with dignity. Do it with grace. Have fun. Support each other. And we live on an island, and holy shit, if you look at the talent on our island, we're doing pretty damn good when you look at it.
That's
like Rory
right.
McIlroy last week. We have some of the best sports people around the world in every single category and discipline of sport. I just think we all need a bit more support here and there.
So tell me this then, Nicola, what is the rest of 26 got in store for you? And you've already mentioned earlier on you're maybe eyeing up another World Championship next year.
Yeah, that's January 2027. Our long distance open water season is just about to start. We've got a training camp the first weekend in May coming up. Listen to this. Listen for a lineup. I am so blessed to have met the most incredible people, and these people are, there's no egos. They're kind, gentlemen, decent, honourable, funny as shit. We've got a friend coming over, Lee. He has swam the double English Channel, the double Bristol Channel. He's on for the double North Channel. This is crazy shit. Dara Morgan, he just finished swimming around Ireland. He's on camp. Jer supported him all the way. And there's a group of us going. Dan, another friend, coming over with Lee, and another exceptional swimmer. And then we've got a few people going for a training weekend on the West Coast. We don't know what the weather's going to be like. We don't know what we're doing. But by Jer Kennedy will pull something out of the bag last minute and go, this is it. There's two things I can guarantee. First, it's going to hurt. And the second,
absolutely
it's
guaranteed.
Going to be cold.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And it's like, I always do a marathon. I try to do a marathon swim on the first weekend in May because it's the same day as the Belfast Marathon.
Yeah.
So I can't run a marathon. Maybe one day I swim a marathon. So hopefully, if the weather gives us grace, I'll be. So there's that. There's a swim I've got my heart set on, and that's a personal one which I can't give out yet because you'll always get someone who will go, "Oh, I'm going to do that before you."
Say nothing.
Yeah, say nothing. I've got a couple of long distance swims set up for this summer. My English Channel solo should have been last July. So I'm in training for that and hopefully give the English Channel a crack next year because last year I just watched all my friends crackers doing it.
Absolutely amazing. I'm going to pop your social media links and whatnot into the description so people can follow the journey, Nicola. And just thank you very, very much for coming on. Thank you for being you, for being such a great sport, and for being so honest and open and sharing your story. And it was a roller coaster of emotions, highs and lows, ebbs and flows, the tide itself.
Well, thank you for coming on this roller coaster of a journey with me. You've certainly brought back incredible memories that sometimes, you forget. But when you look back and go, yeah, that was cool. So I'm leaving this with definitely a huge smile on my face. So thank you very much